So after the spectacular experiences that Insomniac delivered with Spider-Man and Miles Morales, everyone was wondering what was next, and we didn't have to wait too long after Miles to find out, because we got a PlayStation showcase the very next year, and to my genuine surprise, we got a teaser. We got to see Peter and Miles working together, getting the reveal of Kraven as one of the villains, and getting a glimpse of Venom. To say niggas was hype is a very massive understatement.
After the teaser, you'd think we'd get even more news on what we get in the upcoming sequel. This was not the case. Insomniac dropped the teaser in September 2021, and the next trailer came out not that long after. All we had to do was wait for 2 years, and we'd finally be graced with a legendary gameplay trailer that made Spider-Man fans across the world collectively jump for joy. We got Kraven, his list of prey, Symbiote Pete, the Lizard, character swapping. The scenario just gone, by the way. Martin Lee. And my favorite, the web wings.
We even got to see a bit of how the symbiote was influencing Peter's personality. It was safe to say that we were back. After this point, the info drop was a little bit more frequent. We got a story trailer in July, an expanded New York trailer in September, the launch trailer a few days before release, and then boom, the game came out. The time period leading up to this game had to be one of the most painful waits of any media that I've ever experienced in my life. Everything was just shaping up to be better than the first two games. The combat, the exploration, the story, everything. There was one thing I was worried about though going in, and it was how they're gonna handle the symbiote. Was it gonna be closer to Spectacular Spider-Man? Was it gonna be this very goofy yet very hilarious take from Spider-Man 3? Only time will tell, I guess. Fast forwarding to October 2023, the game is finally out. After a literal year and a half of straight nothing, of course, but I digress. Now that we're finally here, what do we, Soul Omar Light, and Aggie Jacob need think of the game? The title of the video should have given it away, but we're gonna get to that in due time. But before that, you know what comes next. This video is sponsored by me and Jacob sitting peacefully on top of a building in New York after completing the most successful two-man of 2023 on your mom and your older sister. So if you're cool with that, let's go. Marvel Spider-Man 2 released on October 20th, 2023 exclusively on the PS5. This game puts us in the shoes of both Peter Parker and Miles Morales as they work together to save New York from Kraven the Hunter and his goons.
The game starts 2 years in the past, where Harry stands in front of the symbiote, staring into the back of the tank that houses it. Dr. Connors is also on the road, doing, nerd stuff or whatever. Norwood enters, and the two discuss if this kind of treatment could cure Harry. Things suddenly take a turn for the worse. Tendrils creeping and slithering out of Norwood. The symbiote completely takes over Harry, and as he is desperately trying to fucking escape his nightmare, we see his current condition in the back of the tank. Anyways, now we're in the present, and we see Miles struggling to submit his ESU college application. Students begin to flood the classroom and are graced with a very new and peculiar teacher, Mr. Parker. As Mr. Parker begins his lesson, suddenly the skies of New York begin to rain sand. Sand in a place like this can only mean one thing. Flint Marko is now out and about in the streets of NY. Oh no! Whatever shall we do? Clearly, the Spider-Men need to handle the situation. Miles very, very subtly let Peter know that it's time to throw on the mask and get out of there. Of course, this comes with a caveat. If Pete leaves to help Miles, he's abandoning his kids that he now has an obligation to take care of since this dumbass nigga decided that being a teacher is great for income. This definitely will come back to bite him in the ass later. Spider-Man and Spider-Man make like trees and get the hell out of Brooklyn Visions. What do you mean? They're trees. They're not supposed to be there. Swinging into the action as they develop a plan to stop Flint Marko.
Speaking of swinging, let's put a quick pin in this to talk about the gameplay. It's fucking amazing. The gameplay on the surface is kind of like the first two games. You swing, paralyze enemies from the waist down, but this time there's two niggas to do that shit with. There's 3 skill trees this time around, one for Peter and Miles individually and one that they share. Unfortunately, there's a couple of moves that they had in the first 2 games that you have to unlock again, like the point launch boost, but there's a plethora of new moves. Instead of these moves being linked to the focus bar like in Miles' game, they're now on a cooldown, and the same with the gadgets, with each ability and gadget being linked to L1 and R1 respectively, along with the corresponding face button. As a result of this though, the number of gadgets we have access to is cut in half from the first game, just like in Miles. Peter's L1 abilities are the Iron Arms. Here, we have the Spider Rush, which is a flurry of strikes, the Spider Barrage, which sends enemies flying back and sticks them to walls, the Spider Shock, which shocks enemies and stuns them for a few seconds, and the Spider Whiplash, which can send multiple enemies into the air at once.
For Miles, people will realize that his moves are very much familiar. His Venom attacks return and function the same as how they did before. Venom Punch, Venom Dash, Venom Smash, all that stuff. For R1, both Pete and Miles have the Upshot gadget that sends sends enemies flying into the air. The upshot early game is actually pretty viable, since in my opinion, this game and the air combos go hand in hand. You get up in the air and you can easily single out enemies or set yourself up for a Venom Smash, or you could use the underrated Ground Slam. It's good for overall control when fighting enemies, especially the fucking bosses, but we'll get to that stuff later. Webs this time around are incredibly viable, especially when upgraded, but because they're so viable, impact webs no longer exist, because you know, web shooters are just goated. Honestly, it reminds me of Ultimate Spider-Man, where webbing enemies was essentially necessary in the flow of combat, and Insomniac continues to improve how good the exaggerated swagger of a black teen with a love of feet.
Please shut up.
Web Grabber is insane. When fully upgraded, it can grab 6 enemies. They can be thrown to electrify enemies, perfect for crowd control, or just, you know, a quick breather to distract enemies as a manhole cover or mailbox goes flying into them. But because of this, tripwires don't make a return. Sonic Burst, Concussion Blast, or whatever you want to call it. It's hip, it's now, it's wow, and how. At specific parts of the game, this gadget becomes your best friend for holding off hordes of freaks. It can be used as a lure and stealth, and when fully upgraded, deploys additional micro mines that also detonate with concussive blast. Ricochet Web, my personal favorite. It's like I'm playing a pinball machine and watching the webs bounce between walls, floors, enemies. It's amazing. Get it? You guys get it?
As you can see, we have a lot of options for combat, and that's not even everything. It is very possible to keep a nigga up in the air for just like ever and just never let him leave it. You can dodge under enemies while airborne and just slam him on the ground hard enough to bounce him back up into the air to continue a combo. You cannot tell me that these niggas are not dead.
We need some milk!
You can yank enemies around with your webs, spike them while in midair, web throw them to make them bounce back up in the air, unleash a barrage of kicks when a guy's pinned to a wall. It's just some of the funniest shit ever on the planet. One of the new cool things that the spider niggas can do is block and parry attacks. The parry requires specific timing like parries usually do. When you successfully land it, you get a slight damage boost for a couple of hits. This mechanic is so satisfying to pull off, and it makes me feel like a dumbass when I mess it up. Circle and triangle are back, and do I even need to say it? Yeah, I think you know how this goes already. Overall, the combat in this game is such a major improvement from the first 2 games. Even animation-wise, it just feels like everything has more weight to it. And I love how much more streamlined it is while managing to also still be more challenging than the previous 2.
Stealth had more of a minor update compared to everything else in the game. Now you've got web lines that you can walk on and get into any position when in the stealth arena. Pair this with the double takedown you can get and you'll steamroll unaware enemies in no time. Other than this, stealth is the same. Wait until it's safe, take down, rinse and repeat. I will say though, I had to start thinking at times when in stealth, using my brain a lot more compared to sitting perched up playing the waiting game.
I'm still not really a fan of the whole safe and danger system and stuff because I feel like it makes things a little too easy, but I will admit there have been slight improvements made to make things a little bit more enjoyable than the first 2 games. Now, you know what received massive improvements? The fucking web swinging. This game 100% has the best traversal system in any video game in my personal opinion. I don't know if Jacob agrees, but seeing as he's sitting right next to me, he better if he knows what's good for him.
The web swinging is pretty alright.
You will die.
I'm joking. The web swinging in this game clears what Miles had done previously. Not only do both Spider-Man have traversal skills, but slingshotting and webbed wings and air tunnels too all contribute to the amazing traversal in this game. The loop-de-loop is one of the coolest mechanics in all of gaming. Being able to swing in a full-ass circle and follow up with that massive speed boost is perfect. Scratches the brain just right. The tricks, these animations are perfect. Props to everyone involved with this game at Insomniac. Y'all put a lot of effort, and lately in the gaming industry, we haven't been seeing very much of that. Both Spider-Man have incredible music accompanying the high speeds you can reach in the Big Apple.
The speeds these 2 niggas can reach in this game is ridiculous, and it genuinely makes it more difficult to go back to Miles or 2018 like I tried. The 2 Spider-Men can both do what Miles can do in his game by using their abilities to give them a vertical or horizontal boost in the air, a loop-de-loop, like Jacob mentioned before, and you can quickly zip around corners of zip around the corner of a building to keep your flow going. Shit like this is why I like the web swinging in this game so much and why it's so much more engaging.
There's also fall damage in this game which can be turned on in the menu. You ever see what happens when you jump off of a building and hit the ground with it on? Well, it's one of the funniest things in this game, of course. On top of that, you can also edit how much the game assists you with swinging in the menu. You can either make it how it is in the first 2 games, or you can set it to have no assistance at all. Remember the loop movie mentioned before? Ever seen what happens when you fuck it up with 0 swing assist and fall damage on? Well, it's one of the funniest things in the game, of course. To accommodate for the faster swinging speeds, the map has been doubled, now adding Queens, Brooklyn, and Coney Island as explorable areas. You know what else comes with increased city size? A new progression system for the map. Fast travel is back in this game, but not only is it seamless, you could also do it pretty much anywhere. It's not unlocked right away though, it's unlocked after completing side activities in different districts. Overall, the gameplay experience in this game is positive. For me personally, it's the most fun that I've had in a game, period. The combat, the traversal, the comedy that comes from both, this game is genuinely a joy to play. And I admire Insomniac's dedication dedication to improving everything from the last 2 games. They had a clear mission in mind, and they succeeded. Did I mention this game is funny as hell?
Any sign of Harry?
I'm still Spider Cube. I'm still fucking Spider Cube.
Spider Cube shenanigans aside, let's return to the story. The Spider-Man spot Flint Marco, and right out the gate is as tall as an average building in the financial district. Surprisingly, Marco puts up quite the battle for our heroes. Then again, there's not many options when fighting against a giant Sandman, and there isn't any water nearby. Honestly, I feel pretty bad watching Pete get beat up like this. The consequences of being Spider-Man.
After taking down Mr. Flint Marco, we move over to see him in a box, essentially warning our 2 heroes of a much bigger threat. Just in case you were confused as to who he was talking about, the very next cutscene tells us by introducing us to Mr. Craven the Hunter himself, and we watch as he snaps the neck of this poor douchebag with one single hand. As Craven starts to get bored with playing manhunt in the woods, one of his goons pulls up with a tablet that somehow has Wi-Fi in the fucking jungle and shows him all the different types of niggas they got caged up in Zoo York. This piques his interest, and he and his crew set off for a real hunt.
And then boom! Title drop. Spider-Man 2. It's finally here! We return to the present. Spider-Man and Spider-Man working together to evacuate the sand-covered area that doesn't live up to Spec Ops: The Line's Dubai. During the recovery effort, Spider-Man spouts out woke propaganda on how he don't spy on people ever since he worked with the cops in the first game, setting up police surveillance and shit. At this point in the game, crooks as well as mini Marcos are still in the area, and the Spider-Men do their hardest to stop it. With the encounters of the sand people, I guess, we also get access to the memories of Marco, where multiple pieces of Marco's brain or something are scattered across NYC. Not only that, but the first person we rescue, if you aren't including the earlier segment with saving the person in the building with Marco outside, turns out to be none other than J. Jonah Jameson. Bro is slumped. Bro's limbs dangling like a stuffed animal. Bro talks all that on his show, and here we are, rescuing old boy.
After saving JJJ, our 2 heroes move back to dealing with their personal lives, because when Spider-Man wins, Peter and Miles lose. They return to school. Peter is fired from his job, and Miles misses his opportunity to talk to somebody important, but not important enough for me to remember, unfortunately. Peter moves on to worrying about how he's going to make ends meet now that he's out of a job again, so Miles points him in the direction of doing photo ops for Robbie Robertson for a bit of extra cash. After opening up that opportunity, I don't know why I said it like that, Peter makes his way back to Aunt May's house in Queens, where he meets up with MJ and has a conversation that every dude loves to have with his girlfriend, being unemployed. The 2 of them move inside the house to start doing a bit of spring cleaning while talking about how Peter's going to move forward given the fact that he's behind on the mortgage. Going through pictures, MJ finds one of Team Pete, which leads him back upstairs to his old girl, where we get a flashback of him shortly after he got his powers. And we get to see Aunt May alive and well at least one last time. She gives him a lovely speech before moving back to the present. Going back downstairs, Peter and MJ meet back up to talk about how the raft is moving some of its house guests to Ravencroft before MJ dips outside. And she fucking dies. I'm joking. She screamed because Harry is there, and he's just so happy to know Peter and MJ are going to be at May's house.
Harry Osborn, finally here after so long, and clearly in much better condition compared to when we first saw him. The scene with all 3 of them here, together, enjoying themselves, it's nice, but boy oh boy, it doesn't last forever. The 3 make plans for Coney Island Beach and Boardwalk, baby. Bing bong. MJ takes her leave since she's running late, so she takes off on her... Wait, what the hell? A Harley? Clearly this is more of Insomniac's woke propaganda. Harry surprises Peter with a bicycle, his old bicycle, that of course he found because he's the son of Norman. Of course he has money. Harry offers Peter a ride. 2 friends back in the old neighborhood just living. This is Man 2. The 2 pedal on over to their old high school where Harry pledges the idea of trespassing. I love committing crimes. In the middle of the duo breaking in for old time's sake. Flashback. Look at this nerd-ass nigga, man. He looks so good. I hope he doesn't suffer the same fate as the OG Ultimate Spider-Man. This segment is pretty funny. The entire situation is just like reading a comic book. It's a neat little stealth segment where you head to the lab for web fluid first and then regroup with Harry. In the present, we play NBA 2K with Harry and become Green Goblins. Irish all the way. Pete should have played basketball. He would have gone pro had he not become Spider-Man. Back in the past, Pete and Harry make their way to the locker and get the drive they needed. Then, in the present, these motherfuckers get caught for literally trespassing. This is your hero? A man who breaks the law? J. Jonah is right. We switch over to the past. In the gym, both Peter and Harry almost get caught. The 2 split up. Harry goes to create a distraction while Pete hides and waits for the opening. As Pete tries to get out of sight, he accidentally drops the thumb drive. You play through this short little stealth segment and snatch that thumb drive. As soon as you get it back, Harry does the most high school distraction of all time by rickrolling the NYPD.
I just want to tell you how I'm feeling.
Damn it! You're in the office!
You understand. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Okay, gotta go.
The two make a break for it, meeting each other outside of the school, and then a helicopter lands on the fucking track. Another day in NY, I guess. Stepping out of the helicopter, Norman approaches Harry to inform him of something tragic. Harry's mother is dead after a battle with, whatever illness she had, I forgot. What I didn't forget was watching Harry fall down on his knees, devastated and unknowing of the fate that awaits him.
We cut back to the present day where Peter and Harry are found sitting on the bleachers outside of the football field. The two talk about Harry's new business proposal under the name the Emily May Foundation with the mission to heal the world. Peter decides to give the idea some thought as we cut to see Kraven and friends making their way to New York. Bro low-key does not look comfortable cramped up in that damn ship. We don't stare at him for too long, pause, as it's time to see what Miles is up to. And of course, he's still struggling with this damn essay. Luckily for him, Peter calls him looking for backup on a quote babysitting mission for some of the Raft's house guests. Miles immediately accepts this request, and thanks to Peter, we don't gotta stay looking at this nigga's fit for too long. Who the hell told him that a neon green shirt with blue and black Jordans was the wave? As he was about to make his way out the house, Mama Rio stopped him in his tracks and chooses now of all times to have this very uncomfortable conversation about how she's starting to date again. Miles, wanting no parts of this, dips out as soon as possible to go meet up with Peter at the raft. Scorpion has been chosen as the special guest for the night, but actually, he's not alone. Martin Lee will also be joining him on this little cruise, and Miles, expectedly, is not happy to see the man's face. This causes his powers to start acting up a bit. Oh, so that's the cause of the blue powers? This whole time I thought it was because of him absorbing the new form reactor at the end of his game, but hey, what do I know?
Nothing at all. Anyways, fireworks begin to go off. But why the hell would anyone set them off right now? Above the prison transport, where they could completely surround them in the water? Oh, wait. Following more fireworks, a bunch of VTOL warships show up. It's an attack on the boat. Aw, look, they have nice little outfits in their fan club. You fight some goons, and then with the trucks that they set up, they shoot giant harpoons, skewering the boat, causing the hull to breach and water to come rushing into the ship. Some crew even getting stuck. The Spider-Men jump into action, doing their best to contain the situation. Miles goes into the ship, trying to minimize casualties. Eventually hearing a voice behind a sealed door, begging to be let out. Miles races around the ship, eventually finding a circuit breaker and using his venom powers on it, heading back to the door. He punches it open, and hey, look, wait a second, that's Ian. Struck by his poison, Miles begins to hallucinate, seeing his father's dead body in front of him. Miles is sent out and into the water and has to listen to his demons. Speaking of demons, hey, look, it's Martin Lee.
After watching his powers act up once again, the hunters pull up and try to bounce with Martin Lee. Miles is not having any of this, so he tries his best to stop them from escaping. His attempts are thwarted, however, when Kraven himself shows up. The river is set on fire and the docks are starting to fall apart. Things are looking very bad, but Miles is still heavy on focusing on Martin Lee. Kraven intervenes yet again, and this time, Miles has no choice but to let old boy get away with his op since the docks are still very much in trouble. After de-escalating the situation, Peter and Miles meet up to discuss what just happened. New York got a group of new ops and they just gotta figure out where the hell they came from and how they're gonna deal with this. Miles is also trying to figure out what the hell's going on with his powers. Peter notices that Miles is still bugged out about Lee and promises him that they'll find him and put him back behind bars once they do find him. After this, Mr. Aaron Davis gets in contact with his nephew, asking him to meet up. Miles goes and the two have a nice little reunion with absolutely no tension whatsoever.
We really gotta do this with the mask on?
Depends.
Aaron tells him that he's putting the Prowler behind him, and he's also asking for help retrieving some old tech. Before Miles takes off, Aaron tells him to relax on all that Martin Lee business, but that's the line, but we already know this thing is not gonna listen. Peter then shows up at the Emily May Foundation for that tour that Terry was talking about. He shows him around the place, showing him all the types of shit they got going on in there, and all of it catches his interest. Even the part where Dr. Connors is just casually there like he wasn't a giant lizard a couple of years back, but hey, that's not my business. After accepting Harry's offer and joining EMF, Miles, who was blowing up this nigga's phone throughout the entire tour, and Genki informed Peter about some hunter activity. He goes to check it out, and at first he doesn't see anything. After some dumb fuck littered on the bridge, the hideout was discovered and Peter got to work. This little excursion opens up the hunter blinds across the map.
Using the information he got from the blind, Peter arrives at a food market which is being used by hunters as a hideout. A clean house. Heading further inside, Peter finds a crossbow. Firing it, a grapple bolt comes from it. From this, he learns how to make the webline blueprint, which can trivialize stealth encounters, by the way. A couple of encounters later, Peter stumbles upon another crossbow, this time loaded with a high explosive bolt. Evidence in the room shows that the hunters were trying to craft a strategy against the Scorpion. Taking a closer look at the replica of Scorpion's armor reveals a convenient opening where or only a spider can. Peter then finds a computer where he can access Kraven's list of groceries. These guys have tons of information lying around. In the middle of our look-see, Peter is ambushed by a new enemy, the dog. The Robo-Hound is a decent challenge if you're playing on max difficulty. I don't like fighting them. Not the fact that they're bad gameplay-wise. I just don't like hitting dogs.
Dog is trying to kill you, Jake.
But you tried to kill him. Yeah, you tried to kill me.
Poor Rush, man. Look at what happened to him. One incursion later, Peter heads back to the computer where he taps into another feed. It's Kraven in a faux hunting ground. Of course, it's not just him, but Scorpion is trapped in there with Kraven. Scorpion stabs Kraven with his tail, expecting his poison to work, only for Kraven to be essentially unfazed by it. Almost like he's seen more impressive things than this. Then he fucking solos him. No dip. Kraven straight up murks Mac. So bro is serious about his hunts, y'all.
After witnessing Mr. Matt Gargan getting murked, Peter finds out that this list of bad folk is actually a list of motherfuckers that Kraven is hunting. And would you look at who's next on the list? Miss Felicia Hardy. We cut over to see Miles searching up shit on Lee when Mama Rio comes in to see if he's ready since her date's gonna be there soon. Miles once again manages to get out of this very uncomfortable situation when Peter texts him, telling him that it's time to suit up, so he bails. Rio checks his laptop once again. I keep saying once again, once he's gone, to see what bro is up to, and it starts to worry her. With MJ's help, Miles starts to search for Felicia before Kraven's hunters have a chance to get to her first. His search leads him to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where the woman of the hour pops out with a magic wand in her hand. After chasing her down for a bit and trying to convince her that you're trying to help, and we finally catch her, and she helps us fight off the hunters. After this is done, the two use the wand to get her to Paris and back to her girlfriend.
More that woke propaganda.
Miles then tries to use the wand to find Lee, but unfortunately Wong's ass got in the way and took that shit back before he could. We then move over to Coney Island for some fun and festivities. Later, first, Genki and Miles get to see what's up with Mysterio. Miles goes into his exhibit and gets put behind the DJ booth, and I swear my heart almost stopped when I saw this. I thought we were gonna get a repeat last time. I guess the simulator knew what happens when you let Miles cook, so that shit starts to malfunction and he's set into a sequence where he has to fight off enemies that resemble the inner demons from Lee's gang. After dealing with this, he's kicked out of the sim and Beck shuts the shit down after realizing it has a lot of problems. Miles isn't given much time to think about it though, as Peter, Harry, and MJ all show up for their little date that they established earlier. Peter introduces Harry and Miles to each other, and our bud starts to worry that Peter might abandon him for his new job. Miles and Genki head off after this happens, so we focus over on the Three Stooges.
Coney Island, beach and boardwalk, baby. Let's go. We're on to the best parts of the game. Coney Island is faithfully recreated, and our merry band of main characters can play games or ride rides. It's your mission to ride them all. And if you don't, what the hell? You should do it. All the excuse is if you're speedrunning, but I digress. The trio head over to the go-kart track, where they actually find Tombstone and see how he's been turning his life around, becoming a mechanic at the beach and boardwalk. You even see him save somebody from a pretty nasty crash. Seeing as some people don't really want to involve themselves with Tombstone, they decide to move on and continue to enjoy the moment of downtime considering their crazy-ass lives. The next big moment happens at Muscle Up, where Harry actually breaks the machine. Peter didn't break it, and he could do whatever a spider can. Strange. Yes, indeed. As the three make their way to the Ferris wheel, Harry decides to sit this one out because, I don't know, he's probably scared of heights or something. Or he doesn't want a third wheel. That's probably the one that makes more sense. The lovebirds get on the Ferris wheel, once again, enjoying the very little time they get together. It's a very sweet moment from the two, but just replace her with Gwen. Of course, right when we want to let the moment simmer, Kraven's hunters show up, here to capture more prey. Boy, I sure wonder who it could be. Surely, it isn't the former villain we just saw earlier. Alright, you won't believe what happens next, but Coney Island just gets destroyed. You're juggling never-ending hunters, and not only that, but said hunters just don't give a damn about the beach and boardwalk on the East Coast, but whatever. Unfortunately, the boardwalk wasn't completely evacuated, so as per usual, we gotta do our Spider-Man thing and save people. Roller coaster set piece was actually not that bad, but, you know, pretty awesome in my opinion. There's still the rest of the game, but you know. A big plus for me is when Spider-Man webs a firework and throws it into two hunters. Yeah, they're alive, by the way. Spider-Man doesn't kill people.
Spider-Man killed him.
Tombstone is captured by the hunters, but people are still in trouble, and Miles is nowhere to be seen. We actually get a pretty cool MJ save. Woke propaganda!
This is starting to feel a lot like Edge of Time again, with how these two are just never together when it matters.
Peter struggles with saving the remaining people on the ride, debris beginning to crush and exhaust him of energy. The all is lost moment, but unsurprisingly, Harry comes to the rescue, using some weird suspicious black goo thing. It leads into another highlight moment where there isn't some crazy confusion about how Harry doesn't recognize who Spider-Man is. As soon as Peter called his name, Harry knew. With Harry's help, Peter saves the remaining remaining people and then saves Harry. Together on a rooftop, Peter and Harry talk about what this means now. Harry knows and is capable thanks to his treatment and also doesn't want to latch onto Peter. The duo make plans to head back to EMF where they could elaborate further on what this truly means for our band of misfits.
At EMF, we get a nice little scene of Peter and Harry experimenting with Harry's powers. It's so fun. Watching these two best friends find out that they're both superheroes was very cool to see. We get a little moment of Harry mentioning the fact that Peter told MJ about him being Spider-Man, but not him. But here's my thing. Harry found out that Peter was Spider-Man not 20 to 30 minutes ago. Back in the first game with his research stations, he was asking Peter to do a bunch of shit that I swear he could not have asked a regular human to do. So either Harry knew something or he just didn't care about Peter's well-being. Anyway, we skip to the next day when Norman's showing up to see the office in a mess. And in typical high school fashion, Peter bails on Harry once this happens, straight out of an early 2000s rom-com. This then leads to Peter getting a call from the fire department with them in need of help getting their homies out of a building covered in sand. He sends in a spider bot to see what's up, and we see a cult trying to brand people. Peter interferes and soon comes face to face with another person trying to take down this cult, Wraith, aka Yuri Watanabe. After her descent in the City That Never Sleeps DLC from 2018 that I totally remember to talk about in my last video, she's now some kind of anti-hero who's trying to hunt down the leader of this cult and put an end to his breathing. This also opens up a new line of side quests following this plotline. After dealing with this, Peter heads out to find where Kraven is keeping Tombstone. He already lost Scorpion, and he doesn't want to lose Lonnie next. Showing up at some kind of abandoned foundry, he sneaks in to find the man of the hour, with Harry soon showing up in the symbiote to give him— that's not what that says. With Harry soon showing up in the symbiote, giving him an armor that resembled Agent Venom. I thought this shit was really cool, but it'd be even cooler if I could say the fucking line right. Not too long after watching the two of them fuck up a bunch of hunters, dropping a vat of lava onto a truck that I swear was full of people, and getting thrown around a bit, the two of them finally find Tombstone. They break him out of his cell, and after a pretty cool chase sequence, they successfully saved Mr. Lonnie. Peter and Harry regroup atop a building, and the symbiote gives the Agent Venom look a more Spider-Man-like appearance. The two split for the time being, and we finally get to see what Miles is up to after feeling like he was missing for a while. Get used to that, by the way, because there's gonna be a handful of times in this game where I totally forgot that Miles is even in it with how much we focus on Peter, but we'll get more into that later.
Miles visits his mother in her office, just to chat for a little bit, you know? Functioning family stuff and how he wants to take care of his community. Gotta represent. Miles lets Rio know that being Spider-Man kinda fucking sucks, but mid-chat, Rio gets a call from someone. Miles, being Miles, listens in and he offers help on the issue. Spider-Man is sent to the Harlem Cultural Center, where apparently a bad group of people broke in and stole priceless instruments. He succeeds at finding a drum and brings it back. However, Spider-Man overhears that this white guy who has a lot of money doesn't want to, invest in the Culture Center. Miles needs to find the other truck, or else the center would have to close. He promises to find the instruments so the center doesn't have to go belly up, because Miles cares about his community's history, and their culture. The embodiment of the exaggerated swagger. With this, Miles decides to check in with Peter, as it's time for the first Spider-Man to shine.
Peter shows up at EMF, where Harry is frantically trying to get in contact with Connors to no avail. MJ, who is camping out in front of Connors' house, calls up Peter and Harry to let them know that hunters are swarming the dog's house. She finds out that Connors is somewhere across the river, but before she can elaborate, she drops her phone like a fool as the hunters take off. Arriving at what looks like an abandoned zoo, we now get introduced to the first of the MJ missions in this game, and oh boy. Okay, so MJ and Miles' stealth missions in the first game were definitely the worst part about the game. They're boring and pace-breaking, and like I said in that video, the best one of those was Miles' one with Rhino. It should have just not have been in the game whatsoever. And because people definitely loved them, they're back in this game. However, in this game, they're genuinely, and I mean this with no bullshit, really fun this time. Like, legitimately. MJ is fucking packing heat now with this Sable stun gun, and she can actually like run and like take a fucking hit this time. During this segment, we find out that Vulture, Electro, and Shocker all got murked by Kraven. I don't know when he did it, but they're all gone. Through glitches, it's even discovered that Rhino was also taken out, and I'm kinda pissed. I would have wanted to see Scorpion— that's not who that is. I would have wanted to see Kraven— that's the guy's name— actually fight these niggas like he did with Scorpion, especially Shocker and Rhino. Rhino because he's big ass target, and Shocker because apparently in one of the audio recordings, he's the most challenging one that he had to deal with, while Electro was genuinely light work. Something else that kinda pisses me off is the fact that Insomniac had the power to do something extremely funny.
Get back here, Shocker!
and they just completely fumbled that opportunity, but I digress. MJ finally locates Connors and tries to free him, but Kraven shows up almost instantly and just fucks up the whole plan. Mr. the Hunter injects I almost said Kraven. That's not, he almost injected himself apparently. Injects Connors with the lizard juice, and Doc is now, damn it, Jake.
The outside, the lizard juice is funny.
Mr. the Hunter injects Connors with the lizard juice, and the Doc is now fucked. Peter and Harry show up as soon as they can and try their best to help MJ and the Doc get away from Kraven to find the antidote, but Kraven, unfortunately for these folk, is that nigga. He gets the antidote back before they can finish it and stabs Peter. After a segment of carrying him as MJ, we witness Harry putting the absolute pause on Mr. the Hunter. Peter finally succumbs to his wound and dies, quote unquote. As a result, the symbiote leaves Harry to cover Peter, bringing him back from the dead and giving him the motherfucking black suit. And it's time to watch him go off. We get a gameplay segment where he goes into symbiote surge and he just ends these hunters. With this, Peter makes his way out of the zoo, with Kraven watching him as he leaves and now taking an interest in him. Now that we have the symbiote, let's talk about its gameplay. It's just Peter with new abilities. I'm not really trying to downplay it, but honestly, besides them changing the color of the webs to black and slightly different delivery on some lines to match the symbiote's corruption, the suit is purely cosmetic. No different animations to show the change in his personality, nothing. It's a letdown, honestly, but what isn't a letdown is the symbiote abilities themselves. They shit on the Iron Arms in my opinion, and once I unlocked them, they were all I used.
What's it?
I wish we had more of this, but alas, it is what it is.
The trio return to EMF, where Peter is worried out of his mind with how he just took Harry's treatment. Harry's continuing to reassure Pete and MJ. Peter tries to give the exoskeleton back to Harry. However, it doesn't seem possible. The three formulate a plan to steal a serum around Kraven's neck and somehow create a cure for Dr. Connors. Connors could then find a way to transfer Harry's treatment back over. They've got to hurry, as the disease Harry has is very, very aggressive. They start with a broken blade that previously stabbed Peter. As Peter, he started a pawn shop where the owner was formerly associated with Kraven. We track down where Kraven and the hunters are staying. Then, he gets what should have been a suit, a fucking tuxedo. Tuxedo man. As soon as Peter sneaks in, one of the staff members gives him a plate to be taken up to Kraven's personal bodyguard. And of course, none of the staff question who the hell this guy really is. But you know, it is New York with superheroes, so of course these guys have no time for that. We run into a hilarious scene where these hunters argue about 300-year-old sleeping darts and their effectiveness. One of the hunters decides to take a regular staff member and test out the dart on him, but thanks to the symbiote, the hunter gets hit with a sleeping dart and knocks out instantly. We continue further and find definitely not an enemy type that's going to show up later, serving them their food. This guy isn't Kraven's bodyguard. He's way too weak. Can this next scene speak for itself?
Coming through.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be sorry. Move!
Coming through!
This mess. If everything isn't perfect, we're all dead.
Coming through!
No, wait!
Why were you standing right in front of the door?
I told you to wait.
No, you didn't.
I was just minding my own.
Come on. Shut up, both of you. Pick everything up and let's move.
Literal comic book. Now that we're out of that mess, we can meet Dima. And okay, she's a tiger. Should we be surprised? Considering we lost a meal in that terrible moment from before, we retrieve the food and the sleeping dart for a devious-ass plan. We put the big cat to sleep and search around Kraven's room scot-free. Peter discovers that Kraven was experimenting on his own blood in an attempt to cure his cancer. Right as Peter is about to leave, the big nigga from before shows up and knows something is up since Dima is sleeping on the job. This transitioned into a combat arena. We get to let loose on the hunters. After clearing out the hunters, Pete makes his way out. Then, he is suddenly attacked by one remaining hunter. He catches the arrow that was fired, and right when the hunter surrenders, Pete just throws him out of the building, even though he gave up. Strange. He's not completely an asshole, as he gives advice to the injured hunter. Somebody should fix it right up.
Peter tracks down Kraven to an old church. We get the coldest shot in the game before we deal with more of his hunters. Once that's done, Pete heads inside the church. Kraven is in there waiting for our Black Force wearing crawl walker. What the fuck is a crawl walker? What? Wall crawler? Oh, I don't want to, it's city war. The bell in the church starts to fuck with the symbiote a bit, which Kraven very quickly catches on to. Peter snatches the lizard cure, and Kraven, being the douchebag he is, waits literally no time, hitting the bell again, and then go Peter, go Peter, go Peter. Okay, anyway, ends up happening. After destroying the bell, Peter dips with Kraven watching as he swings off. As we watch Peter, we see that the vial has a tracker on it. Ooh. Homeboy returns to EMF, where he and Harry get to work on finishing the cure for Connors. After a science puzzle that I definitely did not skip, the duo realize that they need to stabilize it, and it's in this exact moment that these niggas should have saw the fucking tracker on the vial, but somehow both of these doofuses missed it. Way to go. Their particle accelerator isn't working because some shit going wrong on the inside, so Peter heads inside of it to fix the issue, but before he does,
Relax and be a good proton. Huh? Stay positive.
Shut up, Peter. After fixing the accelerator, more shit goes wrong as things start to catch on fire. After putting out the fire, shit continues to go wrong as hunters show up at the Foundation. Damn, could've seen this coming. Once the hunters are dealt with, Peter tries to get Harry to leave so that he wouldn't be in danger, but guess what? More hunters show up and start to get the upper hand on Peter. I really feel like all this could have been avoided if Peter and Harry just used their fucking eyes, but what do I know? With this round of hunters dealt with, shit is still not done as this big nigga with an axe shows up and we get the best line in the entire game.
I didn't know there were bears in these woods. Okay, before we get down to business, there's something I have to tell you. I'm fresh out of honey.
Yuri Lowenthal is so good in this role, dude. There is no reason why this shit is as funny as it is. After dealing with this dude, would you believe me if I told you you're still not done yet and more hunters show up? Well, if you don't, you should, because that's exactly what happens. Can I just say real quick that I actually love how each mission like this continues to ramp up and how absurd it is. Like, this nigga Peter genuinely just does not get a second to rest, and I actually find it to be hilarious. Okay, so for real this time, all of the hunters are taken care of and the serum is completed. There's one issue though. The Foundation is now up in flames and is falling apart. Norman shows up to check on Harry and Peter reassures him that it's time to focus on helping both him and Connors. After taking the serum and heading off, we cut away from Peter and oh shit, Miles, I forgot he was here.
We switch back to my main man, Miles, where he answers a call from Genki. Genki pinpoints a point of interest from Miles, and with this, we unlock the drone chase side missions, which are alright. We get to use the web wings and we have to stay in the air tunnel created by the drones in order to hack into them. Shit can get tough sometimes, but completing them all nets us with something pretty cool, but we'll talk about it later. We then pay a visit to Miles' father, talking about how being someone like Spider-Man isn't the easiest thing. He has the power to track down Lee and get revenge, yet he also has the power to be there and defend the ones in need. I really love how flawed, in a good way, Miles really is, because I definitely would have done that shit and gone after Lee. It's gonna be on site for me personally. Once Miles builds himself back up, he gets a call from MJ on how he should be on standby to help Peter. And of course, Miles figures out that MJ is calling him simply because Peter didn't. In the meantime, Miles decides to hang out with Haley, trying to be the best superhero boyfriend he could be. Alright, Miles is taking too much screen time. You know what we're all here for.
This right here is a perfect example of one of my biggest issues with the story. We switched back to Miles for what felt like less than 20 minutes. He was advertised as an important part of this game, and it feels like he's getting sidelined for most of it. Shit's sad, but what can you do?
2 years of silence. That's all I'm gonna say. As Peter, we head to Dr. Connors' house and find it essentially ransacked. It's a mess, and so far, Connors is nowhere to be seen. We go through his shit and find out that bro has a secret passage to a lab downstairs. Investigating further nets us with CCTV footage of Connors trying his hardest to analyze his blood, even while he's a lab coat wearing reptile. He isn't very successful, and all isn't going to plan for Kraven. Connors successfully turning into an even bigger, meaner, and greener bastard. As we leave the basement, we get to play through the State of Play mission, and yeah, it's changed. I'm not complaining either. I love seeing when Insomniac changes because it keeps me on my toes. I don't know if we're gonna have another Martin Lee moment or not, and I enjoy it. We fuck up the hunters, and instead of holding square to switch to Miles, we see that Miles is hanging out with Haley, admiring her art. In the middle of hanging out, the city needs another Spider-Man to step up in order to catch the rampaging reptile after a quick call from Pete. He leaves Haley, but not before complimenting her mural. As he begins to swing, Genki calls Miles, trying to shoot the shit, but once the mask is on, it's go time. Genki gets ready as Miles heads over to the fish market. This doesn't play out what happens in the State of Play mission either, as there are additional segments where Miles is scouring for the lizard, finding all the fish it's consuming to grow further, eventually running into Pete, where he most certainly isn't being affected by the black suit at this point. Everything else plays out exactly as a State of Play mission, where you chase after the lizard and the hunters trying to catch Connors. Peter and Miles sweep and clean the various hunters that they run into, and considering the carelessness of the hunters, Peter and Miles have to protect whoever gets caught up in the crossfire while going down the East River. Sure, you and Peter are trying to contain it, but it doesn't seem like you're really working with him. I sure wonder why. Anyways, the hunters truly display their hate for New York by shooting up a dock that the lizard had gone under. They really want this nigga dead, and for what? Does Kraven want a brand new pair of leather boots or something? The lizard wants his lick back and runs the ones in front of everyone, destroying everything that was in their way. The Spider-Man and Genki take down the hunter VTOL, but the lizard manages to get away. We see Peter getting very careless with how he saves this poor guy right here, and then Miles tells Peter that he saved the tracker from earlier, which I honestly don't know how he got, so yeah, let's move past. So Peter tells him to keep his black ass right here and swings away with the tracker.
Before moving to the
the next story beat, I want to chime in real quick and say that the symbiote progression is moving a little too fast for my liking. He was just fine a mission ago, and he's already becoming an asshole, and I feel like we should have gotten another mission or two before the change really started to happen. He even starts the next gameplay segment.
Miles disappears again, by the way, because you know what we're here for.
With MJ and him on the phone, and he just flat out says that nigga Miles is off his game, making MJ not want to talk to him because, yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to this douchebag anymore either. Anyways, Peter tracks down Connors to an abandoned Oscorp lab in the sewers. Before anything, though, we get a call from Harry, and we reassure him that the suit will be returned to him once Connors is cured. We get a shot of Harry walking around, and we can see that he's not looking too good. Peter finds some kind of meteorite that's making the symbiote act up, but he doesn't have a lot of time to worry about it as Connors shows up ready to scrap. We finally get that lizard boss fight, and it's tame at first. After this first phase, we chase this fucker through the streets of New York, and Insomniac genuinely has gotten better at these. I can't really pinpoint what it is, but something about it just feels more grand, and I don't know what else other word to use. It's just grand, because I felt it with the Felicia one, and this one is also on the same level. Actually, it's kind of better, but you know, it's the lizard, so it's probably gonna be like that. The script ended like 5 seconds ago. I'm just rambling at this point.
Yeah.
After the chase, Craven shows up to make shit more difficult, sending Peter and Connors back into the sewers, and we... This shit just, you know what? No comment. Anyway, we move on to the second part of the fight, and this time we get an added dose of verbal abuse from Peter this time around.
No wonder your family left you! You're not strong enough!
Peter beats the lizard and manages to cure him. After dragging this naked man back to his lab, Connors reveals that the symbiote is an alien and it chose Peter. He also informs him that the suit is dangerous and that it needs to be destroyed, prompting the symbiote to become more intense and scare the hell out of Connors before dipping. Peter returns back home because it's time for a little nap, but the nap is short-lived as the hunters track this nigga back to his house. MJ looks to him for help, but he was there 1 minute and gone the next, leaving her to fend for herself, as says fend for herself, in the second MJ mission. She gets an upgrade to her blick, now allowing her to shoot webs out of it. She makes her way through a couple of houses and city blocks perfectly fine until this fucking lady messes up the bag by screaming at MJ like a jackass. But we have no time to discuss that because... Okay, something is very much not right with the homie at the moment. After going through a couple more city blocks and me questioning why none of these people are locking their damn doors, we get to a construction site where we see Peter dog more hunters before running off again. Knowing that she can't really do anything herself at the moment, Miles, if you remember him, shows up to save the day.
Miles pursues Peter, stopping outside a tunnel under construction. Peter is seen just tearing up hunters and even being hostile to Miles as well. We clear some of the hunters out and MJ arrives on her Harley that's also woke propaganda. MJ tells Miles to seal both Peter and herself inside the tunnel. Of course, he can't get a word in and just has to put up with this crazy ass bullshit going on right now. Miles knocks Pete in and MJ heads inside. The entrance collapses and Miles is left dealing with the hunters trying to get in and get Peter. We get the famous Akira slide and switch over to MJ, quietly following Peter further inside and watching him act like an animal. Peter lunges at MJ, actually turning on a jackhammer and knocking down some large hollow metal cylinders, creating some very loud and very unsettling sounds for the symbiote. MJ destroys the jackhammer and Peter falls. And then MJ does the whole
I know you're still in there, Peter.
spiel. We switch over back to Miles, continuing to dispatch hunters as they arrive. A nearby crane is destroyed, and Miles has to save the operator who's currently falling to his death. As he catches the worker and lands safely, Miles is stabbed with a syringe, now beginning to lose consciousness. He falls to the ground, and Craven arrives, ordering his troops to make an entrance into the tunnel. Switching over back to MJ, he uses her gun to wake up Peter and...
MJ.
Yeah, so we're running away now with Peter chasing after us trying to kill us. But the occasional QTE of MJ tasing Peter, which is like impossible power scaling wise, because this means that MJ can be as quick as Symbiote Spider-Man, and then somehow, some way, manages to get away from Symbiote Spider-Man as well. I don't know, suspend my disbelief. It's a video game. We go back outside, and the hunters weren't able to find Peter, but Craven knows how to draw him out now that he has Miles captive. Ooh, mysterious rock suspended in black tendrils. I sure wonder what significance this has.
We cut to show Peter just sleeping on a bench. How the hell he got here, how he didn't get robbed, and a whole lot of other questions are not answered whatsoever. Peter takes off and makes his way to Oscorp Tower after Harry calls him. Not sounding too good. Before he could fully make his way there, he's distracted by a notification that MJ just finished her article. And it's just one big slander fest on Mr. Spider-Man himself. We cut to Harry, he's genuinely looking bad. Peter, being the douchebag he is now, just casually asks this nigga how he's doing. Like, is it not obvious? MJ shows up and asks him if he remembers anything from from the previous night. He was a little sleepyhead, so he doesn't remember much, which prompts MJ to let him know that the suit is changing him. He thanks this suit for him being alive, which rightfully makes Harry bitter. And then,
Why don't you pop some more pills and say what you're really feeling?
Peter Benjamin Parker, how dare you? You kiss your aunt with that mouth?
MJ gets ready to taste his freaking supervillain, and rightfully so, but she's interrupted by him starting with her next because of the article. He storms out and has a quick one-sided heart-to-heart with Norman, with Harry with Harry overhearing it and getting pissed as a result. Storming into his room, he yells at MJ to leave, and now everyone's falling apart. While out in the city, Peter gets a call from Rio to meet her in her office, and she hasn't heard from Miles. The Menace goes to speak with her, and he's getting real bold, getting snappy with a Hispanic mother. He sets out to find Miles as we cut to see him unconscious in a cage. He gets himself up and easily breaks out of said cage. After making his way through Kraven's dungeon, he arrives at a gladiator-styled arena where Martin Lee is waiting for him. Kraven is making the two fight in order to see who's worthy of being hunted. And we finally get that Miles versus Mr. Negative boss fight. It's a pretty fun one at that.
After being taken on a trip to his own mind like Lee loves to do to people, Miles overcomes his demons and defeats Lee. And being the good guy that he is, he frees the man, telling him to find Spider-Man once he's free. But instead, he goes to Feast, and Peter goes to find him instead. They have a quick conversation about Miles and his whereabouts, and we see that Martin is starting to have a little bit of a redemption. Peter swings off to where Martin told him Miles is being held, and on his way there, I'm just gonna let this whole thing play out.
Reminds him of me. He doesn't even know me. Or Miles. A little bit of help, now all of a sudden he's a good guy. As soon as Miles is safe, Lee's going back in a cell. Not now, MJ. Is Spider-Man doing more harm than good? How about now? Now who needs the old Spider-Man? What's so great about the new Spider-Man anyway? He can't even stop some hunters. They destroyed the EMF. Destroyed my life. I'm going to lose May's house because of them and... Kraven.
The symbiote is really starting to take over this dude's body now, and this shit's getting serious. He shows up and he's immediately on site. They're like, no time is wasted. After fucking up some of the boldest motherfuckers I think I've ever seen in my life, Peter makes his way into what is clearly a boss arena and is trapped by Kraven in a cage. Mr. the Hunter taunts the Menace with a fucked up Miles, causing him to break out of the cage, and we finally get the Kraven boss fight. It's only 2 phases, unfortunately, but it's still the second best fight in the game. After that spectacle, Peter's ready to deliver the killing blow when... Yeah, you freaky ass nigga. Anyways, after looking at Kraven's kinky ass say that bullshit, Miles steps in to stop Peter from giving him what he wants, launching Mr. the Hunter like halfway across the map and pissing off the symbiote. And now we get the best fight in the game, Miles versus Peter. This fight, in my opinion, showed off Yuri's talent more than any other part of the game. You can hear the pain in his voice.
I know, but...
He knows the symbiote has to go, but he doesn't want to let it go. The thing already has too strong of a hold on him. But after beating him, we get a scene of the... Oh, I was doing perfect fun for. We get a scene reminiscent of Spider-Man 3 where he rips the symbiote off of him, and we finally are free of it. And Miles puts it in a container. Where the hell did he get that from? I have no idea, but you know what? The game probably doesn't know either.
Miles helps up Peter and the two swing out, landing on a rooftop to take a quick breather. After everything, Peter thanks Miles for saving him, truly realizing that he should fully depend on him, realizing that he can truly be the next Spider-Man. Miles thanks Peter and hands him the symbiote. Instead of returning it to Harry, Peter plans on destroying it and tells Miles that Dr. Connors is working on a different kind of aid for Harry so he doesn't, die. The Spider-Man head off. Miles on his way to let his mom know that he's okay, and Peter planning on heading to Oscorp. On his way there, he calls Dr. Connors about how the suit is off and he wants to know how to destroy it. In Oscorp, there's a specific tank that can subdue the symbiote. Dr. Connors will let Peter know when he's on the way. He then calls MJ apologizing for everything that had happened when he and the symbiote were bonded together, also letting her know that he's on the way to Oscorp to get rid of it. Of course, isn't the only apology he's going to be handing out tonight. Arriving at Oscorp, where bro literally takes off his mask and everything, he runs into Harry, where he wants it back to not die. Peter refuses, telling Harry that it's far too dangerous. Harry is outraged, waiting for so long to have his life back, only to find out that Peter's just going to give it all up, just to toss it away like some garbage. The symbiote sees Harry, wanting to bond yet again and breaking out of the container and sending Peter flying away, knocking him unconscious. Harry reaches out and the symbiote bonds with him, creating Venom. Oh my goodness, he looks so good, Right as the two are about to fight, Norman Osborn steps in between them, pleading for Spider-Man to not hurt his son. His son doesn't give a damn though and rushes in. Peter pushes Norman out of the way, but Harry picks him up and no way they're actually doing it.
They're not doing it, dude.
Venom is swarmed by Oscorp guards, but Norman pleads with his security to get the symbiote off of him. He doesn't want to lose him either. We see Venom acting animalistically and wait a second, they're actually doing it.
Yes, sir, playable Venom.
I'm gonna let this crackhead go off in a second, but can I just say real quick that I genuinely lost my damn mind when this happened. I didn't actually think they let us play as Venom, and when I saw the camera cut behind him, I knew it was go time. Insomniac are really my goats for this shit. This nigga's a literal monster.
This, as of now, is the only time we play as Venom, and just let us play as him as a DLC, please, please, Lord. Lots of things involving Venom were cut from the game. With what little we get in this scenario, I say it's pretty good, but I know they had more. Just look at these finishers.
Harry,
They're amazing. Running through Oscorp, just mopping the floor with any unlucky bastard we find is magnifique. And as much as I do hate Norman, I feel pitiful just hearing him plead with both Harry and the people in the building that he just wants his son back. The slam and rage are, I will admit, safe and cookie cutter, but the feeling you get by just being a maniac is amazing. Oscorp trying to lock down the building, and that is not going to work at all. These people don't stand a chance. We literally low-key a guard into a control system, and Arthur Vito begins to fire on Venom, and we ain't taking none of that shit either. Straight up running into the bullets and bringing down the Vito with ease. We landed right in the middle of Times Square, where hunters begin to surround us and make short work of them, and then... oh, hell yeah. At last, we run the ones with Kraven as Venom. This will be his last hunt. As you fight Kraven, he straight up destroyed Times Square, and I'm all here for it. The destructive capability of this alien is displayed quite well, as well as the brutality of the fight, because bro just cuts his tongue off and then headbutts bro. This guy's dying and he ain't playing around with what little life he got left. We get another phase with Kraven, fighting him in a ring of debris and fire. Once again, piecing him up. We throw him into a billboard, and then... yeah! We bite his head off. The true king of the concrete jungle.
And just like that, Tori Vega's father is now gone. It was a good run, my nigga.
But Harry immediately reels from killing Kraven, shocked he had the capability to do such a thing, to kill another man by not-so-normal means. He retreats into the city, stopping at the grave of his mother, mortified by what he's done. And to his surprise, his mother answers, comforting him, telling him that they can finally heal the world. Harry is shown a vision of where New York, and then the entire fucking world, is covered in the symbiote. Venom, now knowing what he must do, begins to heal New York, slowly but surely.
We cut back to Oscorp Tower, where this nigga Peter is finally coming to. This dude done missed the whole party. You wouldn't even know that a good portion of the motherfuckers around him are no longer with us. Peter tries to use Harry's EMF badge to track him down, but when he thinks he finds him, he finds the web of shadows instead. So the symbiote started taking control of civilians, turning them into mini Venoms. A nice little attention to details when you defeat these guys. A random Joe inside popped up. The random Joe inside pops out, that's the line. Peter calls Miles to try and see if there's a way to deal with the symbiotes, but Miles casually just drops the fact that, you know, Kraven's just like dead. Like, he just says it in a phone call. Like, that's how Peter finds out. Switching back to Miles, we head to the docks to use Miles' mixing app in order to create a sonic frequency in order to use it against the symbiotes. I said in order twice. Now, Miles, you know you don't have to do that. Oh shit, my ears are bleeding. After getting the sound unlocked, Peter shows up and the two test out the new tech on the symbiotes. Once again, that's not what that says. Once this is done, the two head to the subway to give, that's not what that says, to save Genki and Rio, but not before running into Venom once again. After dealing with the symbiotes outside, the two head inside the subway and they have to hold off more niggas while they wait for the sonic bombs to destroy the cord that was creating the tendrils in the first place, locking the train in place. Genki and Rio are soon freed, and Peter and Miles get back to work to try to find Harry. Peter makes his way to his house hoping to find him there, but instead he finds a recording from Norman. After listening to that, he calls MJ to see what she's up to. She was on a call with Jonah when she got this phone call, and before we could even get to all of that, Peter tries to warn her about staying away from Harry. It's a little too late for that though, as the nigga literally pulls up to the front door mid-phone call. Peter rushes to May's house where Harry and MJ are just chilling at the coffee table. Harry thinks he finally has the power to make the world a better place. The typical "this isn't you" ensues, and then Peter gets launched to a fridge, followed by "Hey, yo, what is blood doing?" Venom turns MJ into Scream before once again sending Peter flying, this time out the house, into a bus and onto the street. This poor man. Scream boss fight ensues, accompanied by more verbal abuse from MJ, calling Peter a broke nigga, among a bunch of other things, not to mention her doing this to him. Well, damn, MJ, this nigga Peter cannot catch a break. After the Scream fight is done, they get the symbiote off of MJ and she and Peter make up. The two didn't have a lot of time to bask in the moment though, as City Hall is under attack and our Spider-Man had to head into battle once again.
The Spider-Man arrive at City Hall, where it's seen better days. Symbiotes are running wild and the Avengers aren't gonna clean this shit up, so we get straight to work. This is one of my favorite encounters in the game. Not because, you know, the symbiote enemies, but the sheer amount of numbers they throw at you. You genuinely get swarmed by them, but they're no match at all. Surely, the public opinion on the Spider-Man won't change, because it's not like we just went combo mad on everyday NY citizens possessed by aliens. Just as we think we're breaking through, Peter gets smacked the shit out of and is instantly swarmed by symbiotes. Miles heads in to save Peter, who begins to be overwhelmed. Oh no, the all is lost moment. Martin Lee, what the hell? So Martin Lee steals the spotlight. Him and Miles stand over Peter, but protected by a negative field. Lee states that in order to remove the rest of the symbiote remaining in Peter's DNA, he'd have to go into his mind and, I don't know, do his mind thing, whatever. Miles goes into Peter's headspace with Lee. We go through the raft, where we are put into another arena and have to battle demons, while Lee tries to free Peter. When the battle ends, we see how much Peter truly relied on the symbiote, how he really thought that all his problems could simply vanish by being a better Spider-Man. Next up is May's house, and oh boy. Along with his rogues gallery, the house also has symbiote tendrils scattered about. We even get another close call where Lee saves us. We break down a wall, and surprise, surprise, we're at Feast. We finally find the source of Peter's anguish, and Lee starts trying to free Peter, but is unsuccessful at first. Before he puts everything into trying to help Peter, Miles removes his mask, letting Lee know that he won't forgive him, but he promises to set things right, not wanting to carry this overwhelming hatred for Lee any longer.
This isn't in the script, but I wanted to just chime in real quick and say the fact that I kind of hate how little Feast plays a part in this story, given the fact that Martin Lee and Aunt May's death are two very big plot points that plague the thing. It's like, it would have been nice to go back to Feast and see how people are dealing with Aunt May's death, or how people are dealing with Mr. Lee being
a super villain. The fact that we haven't even gone back to Feast is this is the only time we go back to Feast, right?
No.
Never is the story.
He went back when like he was across the street.
Yeah, this is the first time we go in. We're inside Feast of this game.
But like, we don't know how anybody's taking what happened with Lee or how anybody's taking May's death. And it's just like, they were both big, important people when it came to the Feast Center. And it would have been nice to explore that, but you know, that didn't happen at all. Another missed opportunity for the fucking game. But I swear I like this game. I promise you I do.
I don't.
Lee begins his Mr. Negative things, and we protect him by putting the beat down on demons with Galvanize. After clearing everyone out, Miles helps Lee break down the wall, finally reaching Peter where he's seen crying over Aunt May. Miles reaches out to him and we snap back to reality, Slim Shady style.
Snap back to reality. Oh, the ghost gravity.
Symbiotes begin to surround us, and Lee seems to have lost his power, for now, I suppose. In the nick of time, Peter wakes up with a beautiful new suit. Oh my goodness, the McFarlane eyes, look at them. Look, they're perfect.
I just want to say really quickly that this nigga over here did not believe me when I speculated that Anti-Venom would be in the game, and now look what happened. Don't ever doubt me again.
Shut the hell up. I should mention that at this point of the story, instead of seeing the Anti-Venom suit, I saw Spider-Cube. I couldn't be any happier, honestly. Miles swings off with Lee while we use our new suit, our Anti-Venom suit, to mop the floor with the symbiotes. We even get a boss fight with an enemy we totally won't see, / haven't seen at all before. Miles comes back with Lee promising to set things right and turn a new leaf. The Spider-Man realize that they still have a city to save, and the two swing off once more into the symbiotic jungle. As Peter, we get a call from Dr. Connors saying that someone is in the lab, and then the call cuts out. It's gotta be Harry. We inform Miles and plan on meeting each other at Connors' lab, where they could potentially put a stop to all of this.
We cut to Connors' lab, where Venom is getting all up in Norman's face. He launches my man across the room with Peter jumping in time to save him. Venom turns his attention to Connors as he puts the meteorite back together, dipping afterwards. We're at a point now where Harry and the symbiote are perfectly fused, and the only way to stop Venom is to kill Harry. Peter, of course, wants to find another way to save him, with Norman pleading for him to do so. I'm gonna chime in here again and say that it's kind of weird to see Norman like this. In most iterations, including the first game, Norman is usually a douchebag who just cares about money and power. So seeing him actually care about Harry, even down to not caring that EMF was destroyed, it's different but not unwelcomed. We cut to some time later, and Zoo York has gone full on Web of Shadows, with the symbiote taking over the city. After dealing with some of the symbiotes, he gets a call from Miles, and the two meet up to discuss their next. What is this nigga wearing? This shit is so fucking ugly. It's kind of impressive. You know what? I don't even got it in me. I'm just gonna go on. Actually, I'm not gonna stop myself. Why the fuck did they make the Adidas ad the cannon neck suit for Miles? It's so ugly. The blue is so just in your fucking face, all bright and shit. The placement is ugly. His shoes are ugly. Why is his hair sticking out the top of his badge? This nigga over here thinking this shit is funny. It's not. I don't know why if he's wearing this shit on the box art for Spider-Man 3, I'm gonna punch somebody's wife in the face. The two Spider-Men have a heart-to-heart, showcasing that Peter still hasn't gotten over May's death yet. And honestly, I'm glad they're exploring this, even if it is for a short scene. There's a part of Peter that blames himself for what happened to her, and Miles does what a good bro would do and help him understand that it isn't on him. The two agree that they can still save Harry, so it's time to split up. Peter heads off to find the meteorite while Miles goes to handle a symbiote nest. While at the nest, the symbiote tries to get Miles and make him join. Why did I word it like that? Showing him the location of the meteorite in the process. Miles calls Peter to tell him where it's located, and it's located in the Harlem subway station before we switch to him, with him already on his way there. Miles tells Peter to wait for him, seeing as how he has to go help Haley first and he doesn't want Peter going after Venom alone. Peter doesn't listen. He goes in the subway station anyway, and honestly, I don't blame him, because while we're sitting here doing whatever we gotta do, Miles, on the other hand, this nigga is over here trying to resist Haley like, hello, Miles, we're on a fucking mission. Can you please hurry the hell up? We cut to Peter already inside the station. He tries to call Harry, but no answer, obviously, and he leaves his buddy a voicemail apologizing to him for how he treated him while back in the black suit. We make it further into the subway, where we fight more symbiotes before running into Venom again. He tries to convince Peter to join him in spreading the symbiote all over the world and healing it. This doesn't go too far, as Miles shows up to help Peter get out of there. Peter and Miles take a second to call MJ, letting her know that they now know the location of the meteorite thanks to Venom's vision. They all agree to meet at May's house, and once we get there, we get hit with a lovely message telling us that we're at the end of the game. Before we move on to that though, I just want to give my opinions on the last act up to this point. It feels very rushed. Venom himself is supposed to be the big bad, but we barely see him during the last act, and when we do, it's the same dialogue beats of him saying that he's healed and now he wants to heal the world and he can do that now, and it's just, we get it. They got Tony Todd to voice Venom in this game, and it feels like he was wasted in a way. His design and his voice are sick, but there was so much more they could have done with him and they just didn't. Anybody remember Craven? That nigga is never brought up again after Miles mentions him being dead at the beginning of the last act. So much missed potential, and I genuinely thought the story was damn near perfect up until this last act. Why do I keep saying the word act so much? I don't know. And we haven't even gotten to the final mission yet.
The end of the road. Peter, Miles, and MJ begin to devise a plan. If they don't put a stop to Harry's symbiote army, the entire world would be overrun and the Avengers wouldn't help. Somehow, someway, the three need to figure out how to draw Harry away from the reservoir. Well, MJ heads in to get the rock and Miles provides security outside. Peter will lure Harry away, and he actually might stand a chance considering we have the anti-venom suit. Next, the trio need to ensure that the space rock arrives at EMF, but they could use the particle accelerator to destroy it. Destruction of the space rock would in turn free everyone under symbiote control. All they need to do is manage to pull this off. The three arrive at the reservoir, Peter luring out Harry with MJ heading inside, and Miles staying outside. The entrance behind MJ is sealed with tendrils, and as her, we make our descent into the source of this madness. Luckily, Peter upgraded our stun web sable gun thing, so now it can be effective against symbiotes via sonic burst. We release the rock, but now every symbiote and their grandmother is out for our ass. We shoot and kill people and kill a behemoth, and then we run like hell. Making it outside, Miles protects us while we get on our woke our Harley Davidson and head to EMF with Miles escorting her.
We cut to Peter gliding through the air and leading Venom to Midtown High, where the two of them continue to fight, crashing into the gym before Venom just fucks everything up. We finally get our Venom boss fight, and it's on the football field. Now, where have I seen that before? More of the typical "this isn't you" dialogue ensues as the two exchange blows and we see the anti-venom powers at work. After this phase of the fight, Venom senses that the meteorite was taken, so he grabs Peter and just casually grows wings before flying off towards EMF, where Miles and MJ are taking the shiny rock.
As Miles and MJ race through NY, a wave of symbiotes trail behind them. MJ crashes through the front doors of EMF with her Harley, heading for the accelerator while Miles hastily makes his way inside and webbing up the entrance. Venom arrives, throwing Peter like a damn ragdoll, all the way to the particle accelerator. How convenient! Miles backs away, webbing up and bringing down two supports to bury Venom in rubble. Any amount of time Miles can buy would be all the more helpful. Miles and MJ move Peter to safety, Miles heading back, standing in between Venom and the accelerator. In this fight, Venom is far more airborne now that he's got his wings. As much as a lot of stuff falls flat with Venom, his design, his wings, his chest symbol, texture, all peak. After beating phase 1, Venom entangles Miles with his tendrils, but Miles sends him flying back. MJ sets the rock into the particle accelerator. Venom steps out and throws MJ again like it's nothing. He then infects the rock, causing symbiote tendrils to spew out and take over EMF at a rapid pace. Miles stops Venom by kicking him away from the rock, starting phase 2. In phase 2, we get access to these sonic canisters where we can use them to stun Venom and get some hits in. What I didn't expect from this fight is that Venom is being a lot more aerial, which is weird because I expected him to be more in line with staying on the ground. Then again, he doesn't have wings. After we beat Venom, we get pinned to the ground by Harry, but MJ passes a sonic bomb that Miles shoves down Venom's throat. The bomb stuns Venom, the symbiote beginning to peel back and reveal the corrupted, tired man. They're finally breaking through. Harry realizes how much damage he truly is causing, but it doesn't take long for the symbiote to take over again. Venom runs with the rock, the Spider-Man chasing after, Miles getting knocked out of the sky in the process. Peter and Venom fight with a QTE smacking this nigga around. Peter uses the anti-venom on Harry, the symbiote beginning to pull back again. We fall, while Harry tries to fight against the symbiote's control, but fails. Miles arrives on top of a helicopter, taking the rock from Venom and free-falling back to EMF. Unfortunately, despite Peter's efforts, Venom grabs Miles, causing him to drop the rock. and then Miles somehow catches up to the rock that had been falling or suspended in the air for 30 seconds. Suspension of disbelief, my bad. Miles lands right onto the accelerator, whipping the rock inside and beginning to charge his Venom powers to charge the accelerator while MJ defends Miles. Peter and Venom fight, which leads into Venom literally slamming Peter into a tank truck. Peter is relentless in using his anti-venom in order to keep getting through to Harry, where Harry pleads for Peter to kill him. We get this super badass shot of Venom on the church as he flies towards EMF. Peter holds him back, but the pointed roof of the church breaks. The two land on the roof of EMF, where Harry tells Peter he can't go any further. He's out of strength and simply cannot do it anymore. Peter knows what he has to do, but it doesn't seem like he has the strength to do it. The roof collapses, bringing the two of them down and right next to the accelerator. Peter is covered in rubble, and Venom immediately goes for the rock. Him and Miles play tug of war for a little bit, and then MJ fires a sonic shot right on the rock, knocking Harry back and allowing Miles to set the rock back into the accelerator. Harry rips back the symbiote, allowing his chest to be exposed for Peter to burn away the symbiote. Anyways, MJ hits the big red button, and we get a QTE prompt to kill Harry. The symbiote is burned away, and Peter says the manliest man thing a man could do. He tells his bro he loves him as the particle accelerator powers up and finally destroys the dinky little rock.
The symbiotes are now gone, but so is Harry. Or at least he was, until Miles defibbed him back to life. Peter and Miles bring Harry back outside of EMF to his father, who is still unable to tell that Peter is Spider-Man for some reason, and the two and MJ watch as Norman angrily takes his son away. We soon find out that Harry is basically stuck in a coma for however long the story needs him to be. Norman rages, destroying shit around him, before getting on the phone and ordering to have the G-Serum ready, because they're not even hiding at the fact that, what the fuck? They're not even hiding the fact that Goblin is next at this point. The story comes to an end with Peter taking a break from being Spider-Man to carry on with EMF while Miles takes over as the city's main Spider-Man. Peter and MJ kiss, and in the game. Fight! In typical current day media fashion, there's a mid and post-credit scene. The mid-credit scene has Norman talking to Otto, trying to find out if he knows the identity of the Spider-Man, and Otto refuses to tell him while ominously teasing his return in Spider-Man 3. The post-credit scene has Miles and Haley finally making things official as Rio introduces them to her new boyfriend, Albert. Wait a minute, Albert. Why does that name sound...
Oh, and this is my daughter, Cindy.
What? Cindy Moon. They never do anything with this girl. Holy shit. She's check out.
Why? What? Hey, what are they moving now? I didn't move anything. Check out. I know. I did last. Check out. Check out.
With all that now being done, overall, this game's story is a mixed bag for me. Everything from the beginning of the game up until you play as Venom was borderline on the same level as the first game's story for me. My only issue being how I feel about the fact that we didn't get a lot of shit with the symbiote suit. However, we get into that last act and that's when things starts to get really fucking messy. Venom doesn't get a lot of screen time. The anti-venom suit is cool, but why the hell doesn't Peter give it to Harry to save him? Miles' new suit is hideous and it comes out of nowhere for literally no reason other than to be an ad for fucking Adidas, and there's just so much going on way too quickly with a little explanation. It definitely feels like the last act was rushed. I said that multiple times throughout the course of this video at this point, but there's no other way to describe it. And I just hate the fact that we waited 5 years for this game and the story as a whole just doesn't match up to the quality of the first game. But I'd be lying if I said I still don't enjoy, that's not what that says. I still didn't enjoy my time with the game in the first place. Watching everything for the first time, the Sandman and Lizard fights, Craven's whole character, Symbiote Peter despite how short-lived it was, the dynamic between Peter and Miles as well as their individual journeys, playing as Venom, there's so much good here. Why am I pausing between my sentences? There's so much good here that happens in the first 2 acts to the point where, in my opinion, the good very much outweighs the bad. But the bad is still a problem because we shouldn't have had a lot of this shit in the first place. Wholeheartedly, I personally think they cut despite the flaws. It's almost like that's what I said in the title of the video because I called it Flawed Masterpiece. So it's like I'm coming right back to where I started. It's almost like the one video that I did that with. I forgot which one it was, but I'm cool. Why am I still talking? Spider-Man 2 has a lot of side content that we vaguely mentioned throughout the story synopsis. Let's talk about them now. Peter has a side quest with Yuri to hunt down the leader of this new cult in the city that's always setting shit on fire. This all ends with a boss fight against Yuri and a tease for Carnage. Why did I say his name like that?
For the Brooklyn Division side missions, you save a teacher, do some elaborate puzzles to find the mascot costume kidnapped by Midtown, help someone ask their special someone out to homecoming, and gather some pictures so a student can finish their project in time.
Peter has another exclusive side quest line where he has to help EMF scientists with their little research stations. They're like a follow-up to the stations in the first game, but they're just as time-consuming as well.
Prowler stashes are pretty simple, but they can get kind of elaborate. Elaborate in the way that's similar to to Weenie Hut Juniors and Super Weenie Hut Juniors. You search for locations to web yank hot and cold style. Finishing them all rewards you with Aaron's zesty-ass run.
The hunters set up these blinds on the map that house enemy gauntlets that we cannot replay after we beat them, mind you, unlike the first game. Clearing out a few unlocks a Kraven base where we get more information on his character and also learn that he and his family just like fought to the death and killed each other. You know, typical family game night.
The Mysteriums act as a screwball combat challenges, but without screwball and without streaming the beatdown to people in the 100 to thousands range, promoting you to use specific gadgets and such, all while you're timed.
Kraven set up these drones on the map to collect data on various targets. After collecting the data they've gathered through chasing them down, you're rewarded with the tease for something that has to do with Chameleon.
Coming in the symbiote nests act as a hold your ground kind of arena missions. You plant a sonic bomb on a nest and you defend it as waves of symbiotes try to stop you from, blowing up their house. Some nests even make you plant 2 bombs. It can get tricky if you're not careful on higher difficulty.
Or if you're just bad at the game, it depends on the person.
That's true.
Robbie Robertson set up photo ops throughout the city, and honestly, they're not as interesting as the landmarks from the first game. The random crimes are also back, but these can get hectic. You could be fighting random thugs, and then suddenly the hunters show up, and then as soon as you think you're done with that, the symbiotes show up. There's so much going on, and it's so much more engaging than both 2018 and Miles. Miles, Peter, and other characters can also show up to help you in crimes as well.
I mean, Peter, no. Technically, no.
At some point, the nigga just doesn't come back when you're playing as Maya at all. On top of all that, there's also a good amount of side quests in the game outside of Peter's The Flame and Miles' Brooklyn Visions. These include giving Howard a final send-off.
Rip the goat. Howard, by the way, he was, what? He was, Lee in, Walking Dead? Rip the goat, bro.
He was?
Yeah, that's the same voice actor, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Helping this lady find her missing grandfather, helping these guys launch a bunch of fireworks for their dead, friend, playing as a young Peter and beating up thugs to get to the bugle, giving this blind lady a Kraven drone as a guide dog since she's allergic to actual dogs, and playing as Miles' woke girlfriend to spray paint walls. Honestly, I kind of vibe with these side quests a bit more than the ones in the first game, but I'm going to be honest and say that I feel like Miles handled its side quests the best because of the way that they did the world building with them. These still kept me engaged throughout the course of me playing them regardless, even the ones with the deaf girl that people had a problem with. Weird ass niggas.
The suits of this game are honestly kind of lacking, at least as of now. I don't know why they didn't just port over the models from the now up-to-date versions of the previous games. Not having Last Stand on launch is a pretty heinous crime. I have no doubt they'll add more, but the fact that Holland suits take up more of the roster when, the other ones exist is just disappointing. Just a little bit.
It's honestly crazy how the Future Foundation, Kane's Scarlet Spider, and Dark suits didn't make the cut, but Inside Out Tom Holland suit did. That shit is beyond me, but at least we got the superior and classic black suits this time around. Miles low-key fared a bit better in the suit department in my opinion, overall at least. Being the type of nigga that I am though, throughout the course of the main story, I genuinely only used the suits that were given as the story progressed. Advanced 2.0 and Upgraded are my favorite suits in the game for Peter and Miles respectfully. That's just how I roll.
Personally, I love, obviously, the superior, the moody colors of the classic suit, and the classic black suit. Miles, I love the family business one, the Brooklyn 2099, the purple rain, because this shit is so cool looking.
Presentation-wise, the game is fucking beautiful, and it's just a technical marvel. Does he get it? It's Marvel. It's a technical marvel. Marvel Spider-Man 2! When Sandman hit Miles with this racist-ass throw, you could tell Insomniac was just flexing at that point. And my nigga, the fast travel, you should never do that shit in the Spider-Man game, but dude, look at this. That shit is ridiculous. That also goes for how quickly you can switch between Miles and Peter. It's fun seeing whatever the last one was up to before you switch to them. Whether it be Peter doing sit-ups on the side of a building or Miles swinging in, the animation work on this game is fantastic. Don't even get a nigga started on the score, bruh. Kraven's theme alone should have won this game something at Game Awards, but I'm not gonna waste my breath talking about that. The themes that play for the Spider-Man when you're swinging is also hard, among basically every other song in the game.
The sound design in this game is spectacular, amazing, sensational even. Hearing the Spider-Man skid across the floor as they twist into an uppercut, or the whooshing herd from one of their beautiful dodge animations, it scratches the brain in the right way. I especially love the symbiote surge for Peter and how Miles' new Venom powers sound. You have my applause.
At the end of the day, what more could really be said? Spider-Man 2, in our opinion, is a master, a flawed one at that, when I fucking say it. Anyway, it's a very flawed one. Oh, we just said that. But we enjoyed our time with it nonetheless. A gameplay experience that tops the first 2 games in almost every way. A fun story that, while cracking near the end, still kept us entertained the whole way through. That's not true, but that it makes it sound nice and fucking thing. And it's just a game that I will still go back to whenever I want. Even though there isn't really that much stuff to do in the post game at all right now. There's supposed to be updates coming out post-launch to fix all of that, but like, hopefully they come out soon, because sitting around the city and doing random crimes is fun, but I want to like do other shit. But hopefully too, this year, I'm saying this year now because the video was supposed to come out last year, but
me. I never keep my word. Hopefully we're getting a DLC this year too. Unfortunately, there's something that did happen that we low-key have to talk about.
On December 19th, 2023, massive amounts of private information and projects Insomniac had were leaked, revealing a whole lot of shit that was still in the oven. A roadmap, even open world, multiplayer Spider-Man game. Venom DLC, which is confusing because how? Along with a video of a 5'3" crazy person with claws killing people, with a playable build even being on the net.
We do not condone the actions of the fuckheads who did this shit. Let's get that out the way right now. Them motherfuckers need to feel the caring touch of a father figure because this shit is ridiculous and it should have never happened. But now that it has happened and we do know what's up, I'm looking forward to what Insomniac has in store for Spider-Man. They've done so much for this character in the video game scene and they deserve accolades. Stay strong, Insomniac. Y'all will get through this without a doubt, and thank y'all for creating a game that is without a doubt taking the #1 spot in my top 10 games of all time. Y'all definitely cooked with this one. This video was just about as long as I was expecting it to be. This shit was a massive undertaking and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed working on it. Thank you to the nigga Jacob for seeing this through to the end.
Can I see my family now?
Nah, reparations for Edge of Time, suffer. Next time on whatever the hell this is, I said in my first video on my channel all the way back 2 years ago at this point that I'll be talking about TV shows, movies, anime, among other topics, including video games. But I've spent the last 2 years only talking about games, and I think it's time to switch that up. So next time, we'll be talking about shows for a little bit. Which one is first? Have to find out when it happens. And I hope that doesn't mean a month from now like I usually do. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you folks for making it all the way to the end of this, and tell your mama I need my clothes back because it's cold out here.